Chad Gable, the first we see of Chad Gable, he walks up to Penta backstage. I'm sorry, but Chad Gable is in his singlet this whole time backstage. Like, why? Why is he in his singlet? Why is he ready to go here?
You never know when you might need to make a run in. Clearly,
I mean, he was in a suit on Friday. What changed? What did he realize? Oh, you know what? This Adam Pearce, he books on the fly. Aldis likes to plan stuff out.
maybe he worked main event. If that does that
don't
exist
know.
anymore?
It does exist. I don't know
Okay.
if they tape main event before this or not. So he meets Penta. He says he went crazy and insulted the culture of Mexico. And it all started because I lost in your debut match in WWE. And I took the loss like a coward. And I apologize. Penta respects that. But he knows who he needs to go talk to when it comes to forgiveness over Lucha. You have to go talk to the Lucha Don himself.
The Lucha Don. Okay, not the Lucha Don. Lucha Don. Yeah.
yes, the Lucha Don.
Yeah.
So yes, he is on his repentance tour of the Luchadors in WWE.
So these particular segments, like we saw with Phoenix, and again, not to say it's a high bar to cross for somebody like Ray Phoenix, who really doesn't get any sort of airtime anymore. But for Penta, I think it's giving all of these luchadors a chance to speak in a manner that is very different from the usual types of promos that they have to cut in the back, which are not very substantive at all. This allowed them to not just accept the apology, but to talk about what Lucha Libre means to them. And I think in almost every case that we saw both on Friday and also today, it made them sound great. It made the luchadors sound like they were actual people of depth rather than just, these sort of voiceless figures. And I thought Penta here sounded very good here. You can hear it in his in-arena promos, but in these backstage segments where he gets to talk like a normal person, he sounds very fluent, sounds very natural. So, you just hope that they continue to giving them good material to say in these sort of backstage segments rather than just catchphrases and, one-liners.
I wish that Conan was just a figure here. Could you imagine Gable going up and apologizing to Conan? It's like, listen, white boy, that's some straight up racist shit you did, but you got really over. Boom.
That's the ultimate apology that he needs to offer.
Or you're that shorty kid, right? You're the short guy.
He's got to just have a bag of Iranian tobacco ready for that apology.
Gable, still ready to go if called upon, walks up to Ray and Dragon Lee. And they tell Gable to stop beating himself up. Ray says, you did some pretty horrible things. But after seeing that mask versus mask match, that was true Lucha Libre. And I felt that. And Chad was like, actually, that was pretty much just like a WWE produced street fight with a super hot crowd, and it worked. So thanks,
There's a
Ray.
mask at stake, though.
It did have a mask at stake. Ray accepts his apology, but then Ray reminds him. He said, you also might want to think of some of the regrets you should have before you ever put that mask on, because you're a real piece of shit. Okay, not just for the last year, but for a lot longer than that. And that left Chad with something to think about. Like, you little prick. I came here to apologize, and you're like, you haven't even started to apologize for all the shitty actions you've committed.
I just laughed at the end of this because, at the end of Friday, he apologized to Phoenix, who told him to apologize to other people on Raw. Okay, so he does that. He apologizes to Penta.
Flew all the way to France for this apology.
Penta tells him to apologize to other people like Rey Mysterio. Now he finally apologizes to Ray. And Ray tells him to apologize to other people. So they're going to make Chad Gable apologize to every single person he has ever wronged in his life.
He's going to Arena Mexico Friday.
He's going to talk to maybe the girlfriend that he dumped, or cheated on with another high school sweetheart. This man.
I mean, he should apologize to Andrea, right?
Huh?
Kaiser's girlfriend, the ring announcer.
Oh,
shouldn't they be on the apology tour?
I guess so. But I guess I mean, he anyway. I just thought it was hilarious. Every time he goes to somebody to apologize, he's just left with more homework, and he has to do apologize to 10 other people after this. So to me, it'll be enough for to justify a heel turn. I'm saying, I should have never started this apologies.
Is Gable as a heel the best role for him?
No.
coming off this.
Are you kidding me?
It's kind of like where I feel this is going, like you.
What? You think he's going to turn after all of this?
Gable?
Yeah.
That is the feeling I get from this.
Really?
Yeah.
He is, I mean, he spent, like, first of all, a long time as a heel already. And this is like the type of organic love from an audience that I don't think you could just write. So
I hope I'm wrong. I hope
to
I'm
not
wrong.
take him all the way as like a star babyface coming off of that, I can't see.
Well, we go to Penta and Ray for the Intercontinental Championship. They shake hands at the beginning. Ray does the speedball spot where he springboards to avoid a diving Penta into an Asai moonsault to the floor. The crowd starts chanting Lucha Libre, and Corey Graves is just aghast. I mean, at this chant.
Corey has really like sort of taken ownership of this AAA role as commentator, as almost like an ambassador.
Well, if he doesn't, it's not going to be the guy to his left.
He's almost like feeling like a bit of an ambassador, certainly for like AAA, but maybe for Lucha Libre at large. At least when it comes to like main roster sort of like presence, right? And I think it's wonderful. You know, like I don't know how a Lucha Libre fan necessarily feels about it, but you have like it feels like AAA has a voice, and therefore by extension, it kind of feels like Lucha Libre has a bit of a voice on the main roster constantly through Corey Graves.
So Ray does his slide to the floor into a sunset bomb. They went through multiple commercial breaks. Michael Cole's line of the night, he was speaking with Ray earlier about the surgeries and other developments to keep those knees in tip-top shape.
Mm-hmm.
Other developments.
I guess stem cell treatment would qualify as other. Yeah.
Penta hits a Penta driver, and Ray kicks out and then pops out of the corner into a poison Rana, and Ray just spikes himself right on the crown of the head coming down, and Cole and Graves are both freaked out because they're right there. They must have seen this like right as it landed because they freak at Ray, who just immediately pops up and hits a 619 like nothing happened. He was exceptionally lucky here because he came right down on his head.
I give a lot of credit for like somebody like Rey Mysterio for like trying. Like, I'm sure he's done this in the past, but he doesn't do it often. And so for him to like do a move like that to make this feel a bit more special than usual, I give him a lot of credit. But I never, ever, ever, ever need to see Rey Mysterio try a Poison Rana again. It's just not worth the risk, you know. When this
was Mick Foley really writing wrong. This one down as a potential for a couple years down the road?
I don't know if there's a way to trick people into like taking minimal damage while doing a move like this. I mean, he might be able to pull off a destroyer before he could pull off a Poison Rana.
Well, after Ray nearly put himself out, he hits a 619, slingshot splash, Penta kicks out, then hits another 619, goes to the top, lands on the knees, and is hit with the Mexican destroyer as Penta retains in 13 minutes. And the two are showing their respect when Ethan Page and Rusev attack the two, and they get put down with Machka kicks. The accolade is placed onto Ray, so Dragon Lee runs down and makes a hell of a comeback here, sending both out of the ring, but then Page trips up Dragon Lee and throws him into the timekeeper's area, and Rusev comes in and he tears off Ray's mask, and this crowd is aghast, and there's tons of heat. Chad Gable runs down, he hits all these Germans, puts Ethan in the ankle lock, and then Rusev rescues Ethan, leaving the ring, and Lee and Penta cover up Ray's face with a towel as Gable gets the mask and hands it back to them. He has seen the error of his ways and now has helped Ray regain his mask.
First of all, a really hot match in front of a crowd that like really saw Ray versus Penta as like a big history-making type of thing. And I think like coming off of that like spotlight coming off of the Gable versus Kaiser match, it does feel like there's a real effort to push Lucha Libre as a whole on the main roster. And I find it very effective, you know, them translating whatever value they may have gained from that mass versus mass match onto the main roster. It's something that I didn't think that would really be possible, but they certainly have proven me wrong like in these 2 weeks. I think Corey Graves goes a long way in like being, you know, having a constant voice, be able to push that. But this closing angle I thought was fantastic. Again, all of this, you know, is in service of not just pushing Lucha Libre, but or AAA, but to push Chad Gable as a next top guy, or at least a guy who is in a better position than he was previously. And I thought they scripted a wonderful sort of like moment for him to continue to gain acceptance from the luchadors by helping the most beloved of the luchadors here.
After the attack,
But you think he's going heel? So
I mean, it would not surprise me if they ultimately had this guy turn on Ray. Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, isn't that what all of Ray's friends end up doing? They all turn on this poor guy.
Not in this case. It just doesn't. It feels like they'd be going backwards.
Well, I hope so. I hope so for Chad Gable's sake. The month of June on the Post Wrestling Cafe is going to feature 2 editions of Rewind Away. Already in your feeds is a retrospective on the career of Manami Toyota. Plus, we are discussing WWE's WrestleMania 33 event from 2017, highlighted by the return of the Hardys, John Cena gets down on one knee, and Roman Reigns attempts to retire The Undertaker. Plus, we have coverage this month of New Japan's Dominion card. It's an Ask Away mailbag show as we take all of your questions. I will be sitting down to chat about UFC Freedom 250 with Neil Flanagan, and so much more. All of that can be yours at postwrestlingcafe.com.